Hey everyone, it is Tuesday. You know what that means? It's a new RPG Elite video. And today we're starting with a doozy. Welcome, my greenies, which is my affectionate term for those who are new to the channel. Welcome to RPG Elite. This is the place where we put the RP back into RPG. And how we do this? Well, we give you different kinds of tools. We lay out some tutorials, might give you some tips, and we'll give you real talk about the RPG space and community, this subculture, this tribe, which we all belong to. And why do we do that? Well, we do that for this reason and for this reason alone, so that your RPG experience can be more immersive and enjoyable. I want to go ahead and also welcome back my returnees, who are people who keep coming back to the channel and they're not subscribed. Why? Come on now. Hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell. Become one of my, and I'm getting ready to say what's up to my leets. What up, y'all? You guys make this channel happen. Actually, all you guys make the channel happen. I just want to thank everybody, but it's my leets. You know my leets. I gotta give my leets much love. Today, we're getting ready to talk about a subject that is kind of part 2 of my most popular video on this channel. Now, if you've been coming to the channel at all, you know my most popular video is 4 reasons why Black people don't play tabletop RPGs. Well, I decided that because the topic was so well received, and also there were a couple other topics that I saw in the comments that I was like, we gonna have to address this in a separate video. I've decided to do a whole series of videos. It's called the American Negro in Tabletop RPGs. And there's a specific reason why I've used those terms. Now, throughout this video, and pretty much throughout this series, probably, you're gonna see me looking off to the side here as I hold up my phone. And the reason why I do that is because I have written out specific things that I want to say, and I just don't want to mess it up. And so you'll see me do that, and then I'm gonna come off the top of the dome and look at the camera like I'm doing right now after I get done saying the things that I've written. Now, yes, I wrote these things, but I just don't want to miss this stuff. Okay, well now let's get into 3 things I want you to consider before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the video. Yes, this video is going to offend some people. I'm not saying it may, I'm saying it will. I know what I'm about to talk about. This will offend some people. So if you're one of those people that wear your feelings on your sleeve type of deal, this video is not going to be for you. If you can't handle adult content, this video is not going to be for you. And especially if you just don't like the way that I'm saying it because that's just offensive to you, this video is not for you. The second thing I want you to consider before you get into it is that this video, and maybe some of the videos after it, it's going to require your patience. Today is a precursor. That's why it says that in the title. But this is a long setup. It's not a short setup, it's long. So if you don't have the patience to listen, if like 1 or 2 or you or 3 or you or whatever have said, oh, it's so long-winded. Okay, you have 2 things that you can do. Number 1, there is down in the description below chapters for the video that you can skip ahead and just click on. If you are impatient to do that, oh, the only thing I can say to you then is,
bye, Felicia.
Yeah, if you ain't got time for that, then this is not the video for you. So you probably need to go, and you probably need to go right now.
See ya, and I wouldn't want to be here.
And the third consideration is that I want you to consider that this is going to require thinking. I am not going to appeal to your emotions in this video. I'm going to appeal to your mind, because we've got way too much of that in our culture. And it's kind of like Thomas Edison said, 5% of the people think, 10% of the people think they think, and then the other 85% would rather die than think. This is going to require you to think. And if you're part of that 85%, let's just call you 85%ers. This video will not be for you. So I want you to consider those three things before we get into this. Now, if you continue, you have been forewarned. All right. So let's get into what we want to talk about, this setup for this video series. Okay, well, the easy way to say this is that it's all a myth. It's all a myth. No such thing. Let me make it more specific. No such thing as a black race and no such thing as a white race. Now, just don't take my word for it. This is a quote from the book Tower of Babel. Now, I know most of you guys probably say Tower of Babel. It's not, it's Babel. But anyway, the Tower of Babel, it's by Bodhi Hodge. Let me quote this for you. He says this: "Are people really a different color? Not really. We have various shades of the same primary pigment, the melanin in our skin. Melanin is a brownish pigment, and some of us have more or less of this brownish pigment. In other words, we are all basically brown. Some of us are browner than others. There are other factors involved as well, but melanin is the primary shareholder in determining skin shade." You know, I forgot where I heard this from, but there was years ago that I heard this or I read this, that anybody that you see on the street anywhere in the world is no further away from you than a 13th cousin. Anybody. The skin shade doesn't matter, because basically, just as it says here, well, we're all brown. All of us. I mean, all of us, even the people that you call black ain't really black, they brown. Now, I know there are some people who black. There's some Indians blacker than this brother right here. You understand what I'm saying? So I get it. They are darker, but really, even when you look at that and you look really close, they're just really a dark, dark brown. They really are. That is the truth. That's the facts. However, I like to do my due diligence. I'm a reader, so I like to read things. So I want to quote to you from another book. Now, the name of this book is The Myth of Race, the Troubling Persistence of an Unscientific Idea. Listen to what the author, who is Robert Wald Sussman, listen what he has to say. In 1950, UNESCO issued a statement asserting that all humans belong to the same species and that, quote, race, unquote, is not a biological reality, but a myth. This is a summary of the findings of an international panel of anthropologists, geneticists, sociologists, and psychologists. A great deal of evidence has accumulated by that time to support this conclusion, and the scientists involved were those who were conducting research and were most knowledgeable about the topic of human variation. Unfortunately, along with the belief in the reality of biologically based human races, racism still abounds in the United States and Western Europe. How can this be when there's so much scientific evidence against it? Most educated people will accept the facts that the earth is not flat and that it revolves around the sun. But, as we all know, there are flat earthers out there who just refuse the evidence. But I digress. Let's continue with the quote. However, it is much more difficult for them to accept modern science concerning human variation. Why is this so? It seems that the belief in human races carry along with it the prejudice and hatred of racism. And it's so embedded in our culture and has been an integral part of our worldview for so long that many of us assume that it just must be true. But the fact of the matter is that it is untrue. It is false. It's a myth. All right, so this is the part that I'm going to get into. I'm going to read what I have written because I think that it's important that I don't get this wrong. So you're going to see my eyes go over here. So how is this even relevant to tabletop RPGs? Well, let me tell you why. First reason why it's pertinent is because this mythical thinking has permeated the United States and Western cultures, and even to a small degree, some of the other cultures, okay? And this mindset infects the subcultures within it. And one of those subcultures, folks, is, you guessed it, the tabletop RPG subculture. Defining a person by the color of their skin as a different race is not only a myth, but it promotes 3 negative character qualities. Let's go through these. The first one is it promotes weak-mindedness. It does this by perpetuating ignorance and a falsehood. Many think that they're strong-minded by giving in to the group think of the day and saying white and black and injustice and all the rest of that stuff, when in fact they are shackled by a lie, which they are duped into by people who use it for political expediency or power grab or both. And so you ain't really doing anybody any justice when you perpetuate a lie and a falsehood. You might think you're doing something all that great and grand. You're not. I have another quote. Now, this quote is attributed to Joseph Goebbels. Now, if you don't know who he was the propaganda guy for the Nazis back during World War II. Whether this is actually something that he said, that's suspect. But this quote came from somebody. I want to read it to you. Check it. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent. For the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. So when we're starting to look at the white race and the black race, which is a total myth, but they keep perpetuating it on and on and on. It's a way to keep you under control. They definitely don't want you to think about it. Let's get into the second quality that this promotes. So second, it encourages laziness. It tacitly tells people to just believe and don't perform the necessary due diligence to come to a truthful and factual conclusion. As a matter of fact, it demonizes the truth and facts. Here's a quote, famous book from history. Not going to tell you what the book is until I get to the end of the quote. Check it.